First story. Girl's mother falsely accused me of saying her daughter, and my entitled mom decided I'm guilty without any proof, grounded me, and encouraged the girl's mom to file a police report on me. After the truth came out, mom took me to their house, demanding I apologize to her whole family, allowed the girl's mom to call me racial slurs with a grin, and then threw me into boarding school. Now, having a breakdown, I don't give an SHT about her life anymore. It's a long one. First off, I need to say that I discovered this sub and all of its hellishly delightful tales a week or two ago. And reading some of the experiences here has reminded me of some encounters of my own that I'd locked away. This is not one of those. This is something that is seared forever into my mind. Unfortunately for me, there are many of these experiences. The people involved. I will not be using real names. Sarah is the girl involved. Karen, the entitled wench that birthed Sarah. Claire is my mother. Now that my mother is not entitled, explaining the type of person she is a very challenging thing. And it would also be assuming that she understands how human emotion works, which she doesn't. She has her own, very odd, set of emotions. She's the type of parent who sends her child to be tested for dyslexia, gets informed that her child is indeed dyslexic, but decides to ignore the diagnosis because she doesn't believe it, even though she chose to have the test done because she thought her child may be dyslexic. You know, she's that type of parent. How do I know this? Because I found out I was dyslexic when I was 24, when she decided to tell me in casual conversation. The only reason I bring this particular event up out of the swirl of hell that is my experiences with her is that I recently read the word dyslexic, and it was, oddly enough, the jolt that was needed for me to reminisce about this lovely tale of my childhood to all you fine folks. Anyway, I digress. Ben, a friend of mine, whose house we were having a party at. Me 14-year-old me boy, if that wasn't clear. I was 14, and as some teenagers are known to do, me and some friends enjoyed sneaking a bit of booze out of our parents' supply, throwing little parties, etc. At this particular party, there were 8-10 of us, boys and girls. Ben's parents were away somewhere, so his place was the obvious go-to spot. It was during a summer holiday. Now, it wasn't like we had parents that didn't watch us. Quite the opposite, not all of my mates, but some of them. We had very strict parents. But the thing about overly strict parenting, combined with determined kids, and I was so very determined, is that you slowly create a child that is very good at sneaking around behind your back and getting away with it. Because the punishment definitely wasn't worth being caught. This was a long time ago, 15 years, so the irrelevant details escape me, and I will not be able to give you 100% accurate dialogue. But I'll tell you what happened. We were partying, however slightly intoxicated kids are, listening to music, flirting, etc. Ben's parents were pretty wealthy, and he had a swimming pool and a snooker table, with loads of other fun stuff. So we always jumped at the opportunity to go to his. We would tell our parents we were at different people's houses, or whatever it was that would work, that particular time. Only this time, Ben's parents decided to call a family friend or relative to go check on the house. This lady came into the house. I've no idea who she was to find drunk kids messing around in different places all over the place. Nothing too bad. The house wasn't trashed, just some mess here and there. She found me and Sarah walking back towards the house from the garden. Sarah was doing adjusting her skirt, and I was adjusting my clothes. Me and Sarah had been fooling around and making out, as me and Sarah did sometimes. But it was all hands, nothing more. Parents got called, we all got in trouble, and we dealt with accordingly. We all thought that was that. Still, to this day, I have no idea how the story of Sarah and me walking back from the garden got whispered in Karen's ear. But it did. One day, a couple of weeks after we got caught having the party, Claire received a phone call from an irate Karen, who she'd never met before, who was telling her that I had sawed her daughter. I do not know the details of that call. All I know is that Claire walked into my room, told me that she'd just been on the phone with Sarah's mom, and she's told her I did, and that I'm grounded, and she took away the video player and little TV I had in my room, and that we'll talk about it the next day, when my parents and Karen had decided what the best thing to do was. At no point did she ask me if I had done anything or my side of the story at all. The next day, after an evening of trying to work out what it was that I'm accused of, I was standing in front of my parents, being explained that what I had done was very serious, and I was in very deep trouble. I was asking what I had done, but it was time to listen. I was wrong. As usual, this was normal behavior from my parents. My dad was a complete arsehole to me also, but not in the same way as Claire. Finally, it got round to informing me of what I apparently did. So, naturally, I was freaking outraged. A little something about me. from about the age of 11/12. I decided I wasn't putting up with any more SHT. I would stand up for myself as much as I could. I'd had enough of this endless, ridiculous SHT from my parents. It didn't stop anything at all, but it meant that I did one of two things. I successfully avoided the confrontation altogether, or I stood up for myself. I didn't care how old you were. If you were a teacher, parent, etc. If you were treating me unfairly, I would make a point of it and not back down. I would rarely get worked up and shout. I understood from an early age that shouting rarely gets you anywhere, but I will admit that I did sometimes lose my temper, usually when my parents' ways would just get on top of me. I would never be rude unless you were being rude to me. I read about the golden rule a long time ago and loved it. Treat others how you want to be treated. I've lived my life with that phrase for a long time. This applies to entitled not nice people out in the wild, and still applies to this day. It's probably why I encounter so many entitled people. I just don't let them get away with their SHT, even if it inconveniences me. Call me petty, call me immature, call me whatever you want. I honestly don't mind. I've seen too many people get away with doing and saying so much outrageous SHT and genuinely hurting / inconveniencing / upsetting others that these people need someone to tell them, politely, or in their own words, to F off. I have come to enjoy doing this, but those are stories for another day. Back to the events. Now you know a little more about me. Upon hearing that I was being accused of SAW and being completely innocent of this, I proceeded to question how I was being accused of this, because I was still a virgin. And I knew for a fact that Sarah was still a virgin. I obviously couldn't be 100% sure of this, but I was pretty certain of it, seeing as me and Sarah had talked about this before. Obviously my parents didn't listen to me. They told me that Karen was going to call the police. They were going to call my school. I didn't go to school with Sarah, but my parents decided it should be done, etc. I was sent back to my room. Still, no one had even asked my side of the story. But now I knew what I was in trouble for. As utterly delusional as it was, I knew. About a week after not being able to use the phone, TV, games outside, go to football training for either of the teams I played for soccer for you American comrades, or do anything at all really. It was getting towards the end of the summer holidays, and it was time to go back to school. Claire came into my room and told me that Sarah's parents wanted to call the police. But when she was speaking to Karen, they both decided that I would apologize to Karen over the phone, not Sarah, the girl who I'd supposedly sawed, but her mother. And I'd apologize to Karen's family at their house in person. And if I didn't seem suitably sorry, then they would call the police together. Again, I was effing outraged and hit the roof. But I'd had a long time to think about this, and, well, no effing way. I told Claire that they should call the police if they thought I'd sawed Sarah. But fine, I'll talk to Karen, because, well, I really didn't have much choice in this. So I was put on the phone with this utter bee that I've never met or spoken to, and who is casually trying to ruin my life. I'll never forget what she first said. So, what do you have to say to me? I immediately asked her what Sarah had to say about this. She was demanding an apology, and I was demanding to speak to Sarah. This went on for a while, and in the end, the call ended with me saying that I wasn't going to be apologizing for something that I hadn't done, and I wanted to talk to Sarah. Claire sent me back to my room, and I completely lost my mind. I was refusing to pack, eat, go back to school, or do anything until Sarah went to the doctors and had her virginity tested to see if a girl's hymen was still intact. Because if the police were getting involved with this, then I wanted confirmation whether Sarah was a virgin or not. I understood that if she wasn't, I was completely screwed. But it was literally the only option remaining to me. Claire must have gotten fed up with me pretty much repeating one phrase over and over again and refusing to do anything at all. She called Karen and explained about the test I wanted done. Again, I have no idea what happened while I was shut in my room. But the night before I had to go back to school arrived, and I had a visit from Claire. She proceeded to tell me that Sarah had had the test, and her hymen was still intact, so the police were not going to be involved. But I still had to apologize to Sarah's entire family because of my behavior. I was very relieved about the test, but I was utterly gobsmacked that I still had to go and apologize when I hadn't done anything wrong at all, especially seeing as everyone now knew this. I bluntly refused, but Claire informed me that she was driving me to Sarah's house on the way to school the next day. I was sent to an all-boys boarding school when I was 11. I was there on a sports scholarship, and I had to be up very early to drop out of school anyway, without factoring in this outrageous stop-off. The school was far away and a long drive. I remember sitting in the back of the car when it was dark, surrounded by my stuff. I had to stay until Christmas, so I had a lot of things with me, absolutely seething with quite rage, while being driven to Sarah's house to apologize to her family. I wasn't saying anything at all to Claire, because I knew it was pointless. She hadn't even asked for my side of the story. She has never mentioned it again, ever. I still can't believe it typing it out now. Absolutely ridiculous. So I arrive at Sarah's house. I'm pushed inside by Claire, and I meet Sarah's mother, aunt, uncle, and older brother for the first time. Sarah wasn't to be seen. I'm taken into the living room, where they all sit on the sofas, including my mother, Claire, like they are on some twisted court, and are looking at me like I'm fully deserving of whatever they decide. Karen's first words were the same as they were on the phone. I remember because of how much they annoyed me. "Kay. So, what do you have to say to me?" I said everything very calmly, because I knew shouting would get me nowhere. "Where is Sarah?" is the first thing I have to say to you. The second thing is, what do you want me to apologize for when Sarah has literally been to the doctors, and it's been confirmed that I did not saw her, and that she still, in fact, was a virgin? "Kay. Don't speak to me like that in my own house." Me. I don't want to be speaking to you at all, but I don't have much choice about it, seeing as you demanded I be here. Karen starts to bellow. "Kay. I will not be spoken to in my own house like this by a effing little Paki that abused my daughter." For anyone wondering, Paki is a racial slur for Asian people in the UK. I'm half Asian, but people usually guess I'm from the Mediterranean. No one has ever guessed right. Listen, I haven't abused your daughter. At all. "Kay. You got her drunk and touched her. Effing dirty Paki." I'm still not shouting. "No, we got drunk together. And we were making out. Together. Has Sarah even said I've even done anything wrong? Our little angel would never drink and definitely wouldn't let a boy touch her. Especially one like you." This whole time my mom Claire was just sitting there staring at me. Expressionless. She's white. My dad wasn't. So the racist stuff only applied to me in the room. Fun stuff. Me, listen. I've had enough of this. I've done absolutely nothing wrong. I'm definitely not apologizing for something I haven't done. I'm going to wait by the car. Karen. You're damn lucky Sarah's dad had to be at work, because he'd beat the SHT out of you. Me. For doing nothing. Whatever. And turned and walked out of the house. Claire came out about 5 minutes later, unlocked the car, and when we were inside and back on the road, she said that was very rude, and that I needed to apologize to her for doing that. I promptly told her to go F herself, and didn't say another word the rest of the journey. Finally arrived at school, I unloaded my stuff and took it inside without saying anything, and Claire drove off. And that was the last time Claire has ever talked about it that I know of. So there it is. How I almost had my life ruined by a crazy Karen and my own mother. Sorry it's so long. Bonus points. Sarah ended up getting pregnant at 16, and it was between two guys, but they had no idea which guy actually was the dad. One of the potential guys ended up raising the kid without any DNA test or any confirmation to my knowledge. TLDR, I was falsely accused of SAW by an entitled mom. My mother doesn't even question it and goes along with it. I'm taken to the girl's house to apologize to her whole family, which I did not do. Edit. Wow, thanks for the support, everyone. Just thought I'd address a couple of things. I'll reply later when I have some more time. The hymen test. When all this happened, I was 14. I had no idea how the hymen actually functioned or its purpose biologically. My knowledge at the time was incredibly basic and completely wrong. It was common thinking for a lot of people my age when I was a kid that if you have SX is equals to broken hymen for girls, obviously. But apparently all the adults involved were also lacking in this information, which ended up being pretty lucky for me. Edit 2. Answering a couple questions that have popped up a few times. I have only ever seen Sarah a few times since this, and it was always briefly, and when we were in a group of people. It's not exactly a topic for group conversation. Absolutely no idea what happened with Karen, but I can hope that life handed her a really SHT hand, one way or another. I have brought this up once with my mother, and she just pretended like I didn't say anything at all and changed the subject. I haven't pressed her further about it, because I know it's pointless. My dad was just a very strict, pig-headed guy that completely refused to listen. Being wrong was not a thing to him. He wasn't wrong about anything, no matter how small. He died 8 or so years ago. I left home at 15 and didn't speak to them for a long time. I started speaking to them again in my 20s, and the only reason I did then was because they were the only family I have. My mom hasn't improved changed, but I don't put up with any of her SHT at all, and she's not in a position to affect any part of my life at all anymore. She hasn't since I was 15. Yes, she is effing crazy and a terrible parent. Both of my parents were, if they can really be called parents. I don't call her mom, because she's not. Update. This happened yesterday, and I'm still in shocked amusement about it. I honestly thought the next time I'd be writing an entitled parents, it would be about one of the M's I have come across in the wild. But alas, my own wonderful M decided to let out her entitled side again. So here I am. Some of you may have read about her in my previous post. She wasn't the main subject of the post, but she definitely held her own. To the story. People involved. Me. My mother is Karen. If you've read my previous post, you know that Karen is just delusional crazy. A truly repulsive person. Entitled. Barely human. Pick any or all of the above and add your own as needed. And that I have very little contact with her, with good reason. We do still speak on the phone occasionally around once a month, because I don't like remaining resentful and holding grudges, even if they are completely deserved. Hate breeds hate, and all that jazz, and I like being happy. Well, the day before yesterday was one of the days I decided to give her a quick call to check if she was still alive, etc. During the conversation, I made a passing remark about having an appointment with my therapist, at which point she went very quiet indeed for a while, and then started questioning me about the therapist while trying to sound like she's completely indifferent about it. After getting absolutely nowhere in her questioning, she announced that she's driving to see me the next day yesterday. Now understand, this is completely unheard of, and also completely unwelcome. We live in different cities. It's a long drive, and I just don't like her company. It's also been well over 2 years since she's come to visit, so this was more than a little odd. I explained to her that I couldn't meet her yesterday. I didn't want to, and that I was working, so I couldn't anyway. She completely ignored me and told me that I could make time to see my mother, and that she was coming anyway. I kept asking her what was the point of her coming, a valid question in our relationship. We don't do social visits, and she said, does she need a reason to come and visit her son? I replied, yes, I've got better things to be doing. So if it's not important, what's the point? She obviously just kept ignoring me and told me what time she'd be arriving the next day. So unfortunately, I was getting a visit from Karen. I've lived where I do now for about 3 or 4 years, and on the few times she has been to the city I live in, she's got this weird obsession of trying to get into my house. She's not welcome. She always tries different methods like, oh, I want to get you something for your place. Let's go and see what you need, or how's the view from your place? Can I see? Or can I use your toilet quickly? So naturally, I don't let her. I've got nothing to hide from her. I genuinely don't care what she thinks about any aspect of my life. But I grew up with literally zero privacy. She and my dad would go through all my things constantly when I was younger. Bags, pockets, phone, room, etc. So now when she's trying to do something that she has no right to do, I take great enjoyment from stopping her from doing those things. And I'm always sure to politely let her know that the reason she's being treated like this is because of how she treated me for so long. And it's simply a taste of her own medicine. The look on her face is genuinely priceless when I do this. The time arrives, and she lets me know she's outside. So I go down and meet her. Surprise, surprise, she had reason to try to get inside. This particular plan to get into my place was that she'd brought with her loads of her second-hand house stuff that she didn't want anymore, and neither do I, 2 big bags and a box, and told me she'd brought me some useful things for my place. So can I hold the door while she carries it in? I said. Don't worry about it. You watch the car. I'll carry it up. There was no reason to watch the car at all. Kay. No, it's heavy. I'll carry it and help you unload it all. If it's heavy, all the more reason for me to carry it. Anyway, what even is it all? Kay, don't be silly, I need the exercise. It's a load of old stuff from my house that I don't want anymore. It'll be very useful for you. She has no knowledge of the things that I own. I've got everything I need, thanks. Kay, I've brought it all this way. Why are you rejecting presents? As I said, I don't need anything, and I don't want the things that you are effectively throwing out. Shall we stop wasting time and go and talk about whatever it is you want to discuss? Kay. Yes, so open the door. Let's put these things inside and go. You know you're not coming inside, so either put them back in the car, or I'll take them inside, and then we can go. She realized at this point, this plan of hers wasn't going to work either, so she just left the things on the floor and got back in the car. I took them inside, hopped in her car with a big smile, and said, see, that wasn't too bad, was it? The look on her face nourished my soul. So we arrive at the cafe, sit down and order some stuff, etc. I cut right to it, because I really do have work to be doing. And well, spending time with this woman is close to being the very last thing I would choose to do with my days. M. So what was so important that you had to drive here then? K. When we spoke the other day, you said you were seeing a therapist. M. Yes, and K. Why do you need to see a therapist? M. Why is that your business? K. I'm your mother. I have a right to know everything about you. M. You really don't. K. Just tell me why you're seeing a therapist. M. Because I think it's a healthy thing for me to be doing. K. But what do you talk about while you're there? M. I really don't have to tell you anything about it at all. K. I'm your mother. I have a right to know what's wrong with my son. I couldn't help laughing a little at that comment. You've never cared what's wrong with me, ever. And usually, you're what's wrong with me. K. How can you say that? Just tell me what you talk about in therapy. M. I'll tell you a little, but you won't like it at all. The only reason I was willing to tell her anything was because I knew the effect it would have on her. K. I'm an adult. I can take it. Fine. Well, we speak about my childhood a lot. K. What about it? One thing is the fact that I don't have a single happy memory from when I was younger involving you or dads are dead now. The only happy memories from when I was young involve my dog, my friends, and playing football. That's literally it. K. I can't believe you're lying to people about that. Lying? You're joking, right? You made my life miserable. Why do you think I moved out so young and stopped speaking to you for so long? K. Hormones. M. Jesus Christ. If I'm lying, please tell me about these happy memories from my childhood that I'm now blocking out. K. So I take you don't remember skipping down the street with me holding hands. Now, I was genuinely interested in what she was going to say here. But this made me laugh out loud. No, I definitely don't remember skipping down the road with you. Now that I think about it, I can barely remember a moment when we've even walked down the street together at all. The truth. When even was this? I must have been about 5. K. You were 4. M. Seriously. K. See, I told you you've got happy memories with me. M. Okay. Well, first of all, if I don't remember something, then it's not a memory, is it? And also, this can't have been a regular thing. K. Oh no, we did it once or twice, but it's a lovely memory. Once or twice. You do understand that one little thing from when I was 4 doesn't overwrite the years of SHT you put me through, don't you? K. Silence. Because it doesn't. At all. And the fact that the happy memory from my childhood that you can think of happened once or twice when I was 4 proves my point. K. You're being dramatic. M. You're delusional. But I don't hold it against you anymore, hence why we are still speaking. There's no point in talking to you about these things because you deny it. Blame it on me. Say it wasn't that bad, etc. That's why I thought it was pointless you coming today. So, if that's all you wanted to talk about, then I'm going to go because I've got stuff I need to finish. K. Okay, fine. But please stop lying in therapy about me. I'll keep being completely honest about you to my therapist and my friends. If you didn't want to be spoken about badly, you should have tried being a decent person. It's too late for that now. K just sits there staring at me. M. With a big smile. Well, this was lovely. Thanks for coming. Drive safe on your way back. I paid the bill and walked out of the cafe. Sorry this ended up long. Apparently, I find it quite therapeutic writing about my DNA donor for you lovely folks. Edit. Thanks so much for all the support and well wishes, everybody. I honestly really appreciate it. Just to answer an issue that keeps popping up. I know that going out of contact with her seems like the reasonable and best thing to do. And it's something I did for many years. No contact at all. It was my decision to reach out again. And I know it might seem ridiculous, stupid, etc. But it's completely on my terms. It's impossible for her to affect my life negatively now. I have zero tolerance for any of her bullshit, and I will call her out immediately on it. I barely see her at all, no holidays, birthdays, etc. But I would have no problem at all cutting her completely from my life again, if that's what I decided was best. But I'm good with how the relationship is now, for now. I appreciate all the concern, everyone. But honestly, life's good for me now. I'm living how I want to, and I'm happy. This encounter didn't affect me negatively at all apart from an hour of my time that I won't get back. I just find her attitude and actions entertaining now. Second story. Caught my girlfriend with my best friend. With the support of arseholes I thought were my friends. And I helped everyone. Now that all their lives are ruined. I found out a month ago that the love of my life and my best friend have been having an affair for at least the past year. After looking into it more, not only did all our friends know, but they have also been actively hanging out with them. I'm a socially awkward individual, so making friends for me is hard. I met all of them through my best friend, so I guess it is natural they chose him over me. I hated all of them. I spent 24/7 with one of them when their parent died because they didn't want to be alone and were a danger to himself. I was there for another when her boss was harassing her, and she needed help finding a new job. I let another one stay at my place for free for 3 months because his parents kicked him out when he told them he was gay. All 6 of those arseholes have been through so much, and I was there for every one of them. Now I realize they all just kept me around to use me when they needed me, including my girlfriend and best friend. I helped the man start his business when no one would invest in him. It still hasn't really taken off, and he still asks for my time to help him do things. I've been working day and night to help her pay for the medical bills from her surgery after she had an accident. I've been out of the house for a few months because my mother was sick, and I needed to help her. But I still commute back 10 hours every weekend to make sure my girlfriend is doing all right. I have gone through her phone and seen all the pictures, the flirty messages, and the group chats. All of them planning outings, meetings, and whatnot. I have seen the disparaging messages about me, the I love yous, and they basically flip-flopping between still loving me, leaving me, not wanting to hurt me anymore, and then realizing they need me. They all still need me. I was pissed, and I was so angry I scared myself. The thing about being the go-to guy for help, and the quiet one, is that people trust you. They tell you things that can get you in a lot of trouble. I spent the past month preparing my plan, getting everything in order to absolutely implode their lives in a way you can never recover without someone altruistically helping you out. But who will help them? Not me. And they can't ask each other because they will all be in the same damn boat. Everything was ready. I had pictures, videos, and text logs. The lease would have been up in December, and I wasn't renewing that. I have a new job lined up that would pay less, but I know I will enjoy it. All my main items were out, and the rest I didn't care for. I pretended to go out to my mom's. I waited an hour and came back. I could see them through the windows, him and her cuddling and kissing, while they all sat around chatting like it's a regular day. I took a picture of that scene. I was ready to send the texts and emails, basically ready to set their lives ablaze. I couldn't. No matter how much someone has hurt me, I can't be responsible for ruining someone's life. Sure, they did the things, and I was just unearthing them. It would still have been my decision that burned them all, and there would have been collateral damage to people who did nothing. I had come this far and had to do something, so I just sent the picture in a group chat and looked in. One by one, they checked the message and started panicking, I guess. One of them finally spots my car, and I see them all look at me. I don't know what was going on in their heads. Was it panic, regret, guilt, sadness, who knows? I started my car, and as I started driving off, my ex came out barefoot in the cold, moving as fast as she could in her state. I don't know if she was crying because of guilt or regret, but I didn't care. I drove off to my mom. They called me a bunch of times and sent me thousands of messages. I used to read all of them, and with each one, I felt less for them. It went from asking for forgiveness to anger to groveling, basically to questions about how they will do the things I used to do for all of them. I don't care. I'm getting a new number on Monday. I still get a new sobbing voicemail from my ex every 20-30 minutes asking for me to come back. I get text from my ex-best friend to come back and beat him up, saying that he would sell everything he owns and give it to me. My friends apologized for their parts and wanted to be pals again. I don't know what drives this, but they know I've read some of them. I think I'm over it. I don't feel angry anymore, and I feel happy. I didn't do what they did to me. It would have never been satisfying for me. 11-month update. Hi everyone. I happen to remember this account, so I decided why not update you all. First of all, my mom is doing much better and is preparing for a 5K. Her goal is to complete one by 2025. Thank you for all your well wishes. I would like to tell you everything with me is going great, and I'm doing amazing. My ex-friends and GF are doing terribly and are destitute. Life isn't a movie or a storybook, and things don't work out the way we would like them to. But it can get pretty close to one. I am doing amazing. My new job has been one of the most fulfilling experiences of my life. Since I stopped paying for unnecessary medical bills and rent for a place I never really cared for, I've saved up so much money. I decided to finally invest that money in something worthwhile. Myself. I didn't hit the gym or anything, but I did get some work done on my teeth. They had some minor discoloration. When they shaped it for a crown and removed the layers, it looked like it was painted with Pepsi or something. It was a boost in confidence. I started buying more and more clothes and building outfits. I started anti-anxiety medications, which have brought me out of my shell. I feel so much better. I met someone a few weeks ago. We've just been talking through text, and it seems to be going well. I don't really know what's going on with the people I left behind. I heard rumors that came from a long chain of people, so don't trust them really. My ex and ex-best friend are having a baby, which has caused financial issues for them with the medical debt and struggling business venture. But they are somehow making it work. The girl whom I helped get a job was caught in an affair with her boss. He may or may not be married, it's unclear, who threw her under the bus professionally to save himself, but seems to have landed on her feet because the company wanted to avoid a scandal. Another one of them has gotten engaged to his girlfriend. Last I remember he was single, so I don't even know how long they've been involved. The one I housed for 3 months is doing fine as well, but may have gotten an STD from one of his one-night buddies. I have no information on the last dude. So a mixed bag of good for me and a little bad for them, but not terrible. Just normal life issues. It's as close as one gets to cosmic justice, I guess. The last contact I had with my ex was an email 6 months ago. She detailed how sorry she was about the fallout of her actions. She just fell in love with him while still loving me and didn't really know how to proceed from there. It was a bad time for her, as she relied on me so much that it made her get resentful, and something about being with him made her feel in control. She ended it with how much she regrets her actions and the hurt she caused, but doesn't regret loving me or him, and that she still loves us both and will always be here if I need her. I never responded because there was no need. I can understand her perspective in this. That doesn't mean I condone her actions, but I can somewhat forgive her and move on from this permanently. Humans are complex, and so is love. Sometimes we hurt the ones we love the most. While I don't like her or her actions, I do believe she loved us both. She doesn't seem to have any reason to lie. Anyway, c'est la vie. Have a good evening, guys, and don't spend your energy getting upset or anything on my behalf. Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.